I pass on my deepest thanks to everybody for bearing us with that complicated, bureaucratic, procedural voting system. It is very much appreciated. I think it's important to make sure we've got residents' views on board in terms of consultation. It's been very helpful from my side as well to know where people feel, which is their preferred site. And again, it is needed in order to get this funding allocated. And I think, John Roll, you won't mind my saying, is it 69 wards across the city? There are a number that haven't managed to get this far. So they will not have access to this funding to their ward. So I'm very grateful.
Correct, Councillor. There are some wards across the city that haven't had it. I would stress as well that we're not opening it up at the moment to a universal round 3. So by actually doing what you've done tonight, we are making certain that the allocation to the ward isn't going to go back into the coffers of Birmingham City Council for other alternative methods.
Okay, fantastic. So with everyone's permission, I'm going to steam through some other points because I quite like whiskey at the moment. It's been quite a long day. So a couple of updates for everybody, and please feel free to either put your messages in the chat or to put your hand up or just to speak up if you so wish. I've been working quite hard to get some bollards at this junction of the Hollyfast Road, Birmingham Road. Many residents will know that there's been repeated parking in front of the iconic shop, which causes lots of issues regarding visibility of the junction. So I'm very happy to announce that we have got the funding approved for this. This is delegated ward funding that I've got direct control for. So this should be coming in soon to the ward. To do watch this space, but I think hopefully it's be welcomed by most people. And then in terms of this page, so I've left this up. This is the Wylde Green Facebook page. I will ask everybody who isn't on Facebook, who is on Facebook, to please do join, share it with your friends, neighbours, etc. It is a good way of me trying to stay in touch with residents. So the most recent post was advertising the police surgery, which we held at Costa Coffee a few days ago. And there's other things, other ward newses that I try and pop on as much as I can. You can see Amy doing some litter picking on the video there. So it's a very useful way of us trying to stay in communication with you, road closures, planning applications, etc. Can I also just remind everybody, so I do send out a ward update through email. It may be going into your spam folder. So there's some 800 emails that goes out. And I've had apologies from around 15 people who weren't able to attend today. But please do check your inboxes. It's useful in terms of COVID updates and other ward news as well. I'm going to hand over to Amy at this point because what we've been working very hard on is on these two lanes, the Green Lane and the Boulevard. So it's been noted to me over the past few years since I became your councillor in 2015 that there's been a lot of speeding on these two roads especially. Now, we've been working hard to try and get some speed awareness signs put in to these locations. Now, Amy very kindly dropped, I think it's around 250 letters that I printed out to every resident along Green Lanes and the Boulevard, suggesting 4 locations. So roughly speaking, one here, one here, one here, one here, and then 2 on the Boulevard. So 6 locations facing northwards and facing southwards. The majority of residents on these roads have come back preferring a location roughly here. Amy, can I just confirm it's facing drivers who are coming southwards? Is that correct?
Say that again, sorry.
So it's roughly here, isn't it? And it's for drivers who are driving from the north downwards.
Yeah, so coming in from the Birmingham Road, going towards Wylde Green School.
Great, thank you. So Amy's worked very hard on this, and we've managed to secure perhaps 2 signs now for the Green Lanes. So happy to announce that we're hopefully going to get some speed awareness signs on this road. If anybody has any comments on this, please do email me directly. But it has been a culmination of a lot of work, especially by Amy. And I'm grateful that I've managed to twist the arm of a cabinet member who owes me a favour to get 2 signs, hopefully within the next few months, but don't hold me to that. And the reason why it's signs and not anything else, so you may remember the large campaign that we did outside the Bishop Walsh School, which took some 3 years, 4,000 name signatures to get the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit and the speed bumps. Now, even with that weight of support at a junction black spot, Birmingham City Council refused funding for that. So to try and get 20-mile-an-hour zone speed bumps, raised curbing, even if it's the chicanes would be nigh on impossible on this section. So the best that we can get, unfortunately, is speed signs, which I hope everybody will agree it's something which will help. It's not perfect, but it is an improvement to the ward. Okay, Amy, is there anything you want to say on that?
No, I mean, I've lived in Henley Close for just over 3 years now, so that comes out onto Green Lanes, and I've noticed the entire time that the cars really zoom, especially after they've passed the school. There's a lot of parked cars around both sides of the road by the school, and they just pick up speed, and it's such a straight length of road. So yeah, I think the feedback from the majority of residents was for placement on Green Lanes as opposed to the boulevard. You know, people had concerns about both, but there was definitely more of a sway to Green Lanes. And I know that there's also some people don't think that necessarily those signs actually do reduce speed, but I definitely think they do. Even if you're doing 32 and it flashes 32, you definitely drop your speed to 30. And as you said, with the funding from Birmingham City Council and the difficulty putting in a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, it's surely better than nothing. And I hope that you can't please everyone, but I hope that people see it as a good thing for the ward, as you say.
Thank you, Commissioner. So again, just to emphasise that it probably won't be warmly welcomed by everybody, but it has got the vast majority of support from people who have replied to the letters. So I think we've got around 40 people who've emailed us directly back after the mass lettering out. And the vast majority, I think about 70%, were in favour of what I called location 4 as suggested. So that's the one that we're going ahead with. And then the second camera, if we are able to get that, would be further south to Green Lanes facing the other direction. Okay. If there's no questions on the speed awareness sign, Phil.
Yes, a lot of I live on the boulevard, as you know, and we do get a lot of cars coming down, going quite a speed down the boulevard. And it's interesting the time of day it occurs. 3:30 to about 4:30. And a lot of them are driven by, I'm sorry to say, women with little kids in it. They pick their kids up and they're trying to get home. So that's what you're up against.
Well, the issue across the whole ward is inconsiderate driving and inconsiderate behaviour. It goes from littering to parking on curbs to speeding to parking on junctions, double yellow lines, everything that the vast majority of the casework I deal with is inconsiderate behaviour. And if everybody was a little more appreciative of the consequences of their own actions, I think the world indeed would be a much nicer place, and certainly my inbox would be a lot smaller.
Can I just add that at the moment, the one end of the boulevard is now supposedly closed off, and we're still getting cars coming down and trying to find their way through it. That's how inconsiderate people are.
Moving the signs.
Thank you. Pat, you just need to mute yourself.
Right, I agree that there's incredible speeding along Green Lanes, but it's the first I've heard of the letter. I don't think I've had the letter suggesting where the speeding signs are to be situated, and I'm not sure now.
Green Lanes. You do live on Green Lanes, don't you?
I do live in Green Lanes, yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
So it's 101, isn't? Sorry, not to put your address out there.
Well, most people know it's 106.
Amy?
But I don't recall getting this letter.
Sorry, I just had to turn the rice down. I posted. I would be surprised if I had missed your house, but if I have, and if you haven't got a letter, I do apologise. I did all of the.
I'm not being critical. I'm just saying I haven't. You know, it's the first I've heard about it. That's all.
Oh, I did post letters to everyone on Green Lanes, but I mean, I can send you a copy, or I can post a copy tomorrow if you want one.
Can you email it? Just attach it to an email.
Yes.
I'll send you a copy, Pat. I'll send you the PDF copy that I've got. And again, I hope everyone will forgive me for the imperfect way of communication. We did try and find the best way of doing it, but I often find, even if I do a leaflet drop, so it takes a great amount of time and effort to put together a leaflet and to pay for it printed and to deliver it. But we normally only get a 5% return. And lots of people put it together with the farm food leaflets and they chuck it in the recycle, which is understandable. But I do urge people just to pay attention, especially if it comes out on the council letter-headed paper, which I hope draws a little bit more attention. Ken, you've got your hand up.
In personal experience, you just know it's easier to go faster down green lanes. People sort of go straight down, whereas on the boulevard, you do tend to people parked on the road. You do have to go around them. I'm not saying I do that. I can't drive fast, but I think it is quite a worry where I live, halfway up the road. People do sort of boy racers do bomb down there. It's quite frightening sometimes.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate the feedback on that, and I'm grateful to know that we've got the location roughly right. Many will know that I sit as a magistrate, and there's so many people that we've given fines barred from driving. Of course, we all drive 29 miles an hour down to 30, don't we? But present company excluded, there are lots of people who drive very, very quickly down the green lanes, and of course, it's wider than the boulevard. Okay, moving, if I may, on to the next point. So you can see in the slide, I've got the picture for the development for the Wylde Green pub. So there are a number of planning applications that's gone forward for this. To update residents, for those who do not know, the application was rejected by Birmingham City Council. They then appealed it to the independent Ombudsman department, who successfully reversed the decision. So they've won it on appeal. What they're now doing is they're now putting another application to Birmingham City Council for the same thing, in order so that they can get the planning approved locally as opposed to on appeal, so it looks better aesthetically and for PR purposes. There's also various applications that they put forward for tree removal, but we're expecting them to continue to perhaps putting other applications forward to make further revisions to the site. Now, again, I'm very grateful to Amy, who's been a local champion on this, who just lives behind the ward, who certainly knows the planning application details much better than I do on this. And she's been guiding me through some of the intricacies on this and helping represent residents as well in opposing this. What we've recently done is dropped a letter to every resident in the immediate vicinity asking if they wanted to club together to take legal action to try and enforce what's called legal covenants on the land. So for those who aren't land experts, certain title deeds would have a covenant barring certain use or dictating certain use. It isn't a planning instrument, it is a legal instrument which will need legal enforcing. So what I've asked is if residents wanted to club together to try and see who has the benefit of these covenants, but also they wanted to enforce it. Now, unfortunately, I think we dropped around 200 letters. Only 3 people were willing to take that on. Perhaps only 10 people replied. So I think with this, the fight to stop or to reduce the scale of development, I think, has now ended. We're now moving on to ensuring that what they are building is what they are saying that they're going to build. But we are still trying to follow up on some of the covenant matters. Amy, is there anything you want to say on this? If she's gone off to do the rice, I apologise.
No, I'm back. I've got to keep watching the rice. No, you've covered it really. I mean, it's annoying, but the decision comes from the inspectorate, and as you say, the only other avenue is the covenants on the land, to which I don't think there are many beneficiaries, and I think most of those are literally bordering the site, and of course that takes money, and never going to have as much money as a developer like retirement living. So I think we are, as you say, a little bit end of the road and just need to make sure that they build what they actually have planning permission to build.
Thank you, Amy. So that covers the Wylde Green pub. If there are no questions, just quickly update residents on this other scheme that I'm trying to do. So Broadfields Road, Florence Road, junction of Chester Road, just west of the McDonald's on the Chester Road. So we've been trying to get a scheme to close the road off at the Chester Road site from traffic turning left, heading northwards into Florence. So the principle to this is to access funding that the council has for cycle lanes. So you can see it's a very small cycle lane which gives us access to this funding. The idea is that it will turn this into only a one-way, so only traffic can come southwards, which should minimise for those local residents who live on those two roads, speeding, cut through traffic, congestion, also lorries getting stuck on this junction. It also gives me access to try and turn some improvements to the road, readjust some of the double yellow lines, some of the car park spaces, etc. So I'm hoping that this is going through council at the moment. This has been about 18 months in the planning and efforts. So it's been the culmination of a lot of work, but this is mostly for residents on Broadfields and Florence. But I just wanted to update residents on this development as well. The final thing is the 5G mast. So residents may know that on the Birmingham Road opposite the Wylde Green pub, there was an application for 5G mast. This has successfully been rebuffed and refused, so I'm grateful for everyone's support on that. All right, that covers all the points that I wanted to raise. I'm very happy to take any questions from any residents at this stage. Otherwise, if everybody wants to run off and catch the latest BBC drama, I also completely understand. I will not be insulted. It's been a very long evening. I think I've stunned everyone into silence. Fantastic. Okay, in which case, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you very much for your time this evening. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us here this evening, to give me your feedback, to participate in the vote, which I said I really do need your attendance here so it is caught, so we can get the money, and I'm very grateful for that. I hope you found the update useful. Please do stay in touch if you have any issues, drop me an email, but do, if you can, do join the Facebook page, because trying to communicate outwards when we can't have our ward meetings and I'm not out and about as much, can't really door knock, is quite difficult. So I do appreciate any feedback that you have for us. I'll stay on the line if anybody wants to have a side chat confidentially, but otherwise, wish you all a very good evening, very happy Chinese New Year, and every best. And again, thank you for your time and continued support.
Thank you for having me.